Hi, this is Matthew Skolch riding for Westby Racing. Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe.
Yuasa Stock 1000, the first race of the weekend. Welcome everybody on the hill. The hill people in the shade, in the sun. They've got beautiful skies that lie ahead. I'm Robbie Floyd alongside Roger Lee Hayden, Michael Hill down trackside, and welcome everybody inside our booth. We've got aerial support provided by the Lucas Oil helicopter as well. Roger, we kick off with the first race of the day. It's their only race of the weekend, the Yuasa Stock 1000s. Absolutely one of the tightest competitions we'll see all weekend, all year long in this class.
Yeah, this class has been really tight all year. There's so many different guys that can win on any given week, and Corey Alexander's been really fast this weekend. He got the track record this morning, got a new Wilbur watch as well for qualifying on pole, but also he had a crash.
What does that look like? Show everybody, Roger.
He had a crash in Superbike practice, though, and they had to get a brand new bike, so it's going to be a bike he's never rode before, so it might be a little tricky those first couple laps.
And that follows up after what we saw at Virginia International Raceway too, where he also had a crash. So between the body and the bike, he's been hurting. But one guy who hasn't been hurting, has been putting the hurting on some people, is Hayden Gillum. The 69's been flying.
Yeah, he has. Last at Virginia especially, I mean, just really, even when he didn't get a good start, was really patient. And even Jeff made a lot of good passes at VR. He's been really consistent this year. Michael Gilbert made a couple mistakes at VR that we haven't seen before.
And we haven't seen Michael Gilbert, his typical self, this weekend yet as well. But Hayden Gillum, back-to-back victories. He's on top of everybody in the championship points. His worst finish was a 4th place at the first race of the year, and he's coming back-to-back with victories. As you look at that points advantage for Hayden Gillum over Jeff May. Now, you only get 25 points for first place, so he has a full race advantage over third and almost a full race advantage over second.
Yeah, definitely the consistency. You can see the guys at the front just being super consistent, and Brandon Posh got himself in the 6th, so still really tight. Corey Alexander needs to get some wins starting this weekend and try to make some points up.
Well, we talked about that Wilbur fastest qualifier in one of our classes this weekend. They drew the ping pong ball, whatever it may be, in the Yuasa Stock 1000. Michael Hill, they drew the class, so they get that brand new Wilbur watch.
Yeah, they do indeed. I'm down here on the grid alongside a very, very happy Corey Alexander, who's put the Titleist Cycle Racing on the front row of the grid. And we are now ready because Mr. Wilbur himself is presenting the Wilbur watch to Corey Alexander. And I have to say, that is a nice-looking timepiece. Big smiles from Wilbur Watches and from Corey Alexander. And he won't be putting it on his wrist just now because he's got to go and go racing. But the first watch of the collection, a fist bump as well. And Roger, a very, very happy guy up there. But let's have a quick word then with the Wilbur watch winner here, Corey Alexander. That is a fine piece of timepiece art. That is beautiful.
Yeah, it was worth that extra little push this morning. You know, I was like, at least there's a little incentive, you know?
Obviously, you're going into this race, the winner of the opening round of the championship. We know what happened at the last round, but an outright circuit record to take pole position. Great job.
Yeah, thank you for sure. I mean, I showed up yesterday not really knowing if I could ride, you know. Obviously, it was only 2 weeks ago, and the guys did a lot of work to get a bike back together. That one was obviously not in too good a shape after that, so and then I gave them some more work this morning. So we're lucky just to be here. As you can see, they're adjusting my bars and stuff for me. This is the first time we're riding this bike, so a little bit anxious about that, but otherwise really, really excited. This home race for our team, the Titleist Cycle Ride GMC Racing Team. So hopefully we'll see what this BMW power can do.
Thanks, Corey. Roger, Robbie, a bit of a sort of a nervous word there. He's never ridden this bike before, Roger. You've maybe been in that situation before. The team have done a great job, as he said, to rebuild this bike. His only lap so far on it is to the grid. He's going to get one warm-up lap and then lights out. But he shouldn't have too much to worry about, right? Yeah,
definitely a lot to worry about, especially you know, when you see your mechanic still working on the bike as you're getting ready for the race. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, but this is at Virginia. He had that big crash there.
Yeah, that violent. The bike hurt, but he was hurting even more. Didn't even race that next day. And look at that. I mean, legs. It's amazing he didn't break an ankle or leg or anything in there. It took most of the brunt with his head. And thank goodness for the Road Racing World Action Fund and those air fences there. That really saved him.
Yeah, it did. It's so important, that Road Racing World. Air Fence Fund does a lot, and there's more and more every year. So we are really thankful as riders for those air fences.
You follow it up with a physical injury there, and this morning into the gravel pit, you saw the disappointment out of Corey Alexander. He's been hitting the ground too often. I mean, this is a guy that's generally pretty damn smooth. I mean, the past couple of years, I can't remember him crashing that much.
I'm right there with you on that one. Now, he doesn't usually make too many mistakes, but, you know, look how fast he's going. He broke the track record this morning by a second, so maybe he's just really pushing hard, and hopefully for him, luckily he's got a really good team behind him, so I think they'll have that bike ready to go. But you're never on the grid wanting to see your guys, you know, trying to hurry up and work on the bike, but they only had a certain amount of time to get this thing ready for the race.
And he holds the fastest lap around this track this morning in qualifying in the 2:13 range. The fastest lap record was Jake Lewis last year in the 2:14.8. So we know that the possibility's there. The weather, absolutely magnificent. I mean, it is really not the higher winds we saw yesterday. The sun's out, but it's still kind of cool. So the motors like it, the tires like it. Hayden Gillum, you know, probably likes it.
And the sun's out, so the temperature in the track is going to be perfect. And I think that's why we've seen so many guys so fast this morning. So I think we could even see the race lap record broke as well. And I think with this draft, we could see a pretty big pack of guys.
Hey, that race lap record might be an overall record as well. That is some pretty looking sky, and we do not expect it to be this way tomorrow, Roger. It's supposed to rain.
Yeah, it looks like might get some rain tomorrow, so we're going to get a good day in today. And when we get to tomorrow, we'll deal with that. Luckily, this track is awesome in the rain, so it won't be a big deal for the riders.
MotoAmerica Stock 1000 coverage is sponsored by Yuasa Battery. It starts with us. By Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. And by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance.
Rain is not in the forecast for today. That couldn't be said just a couple of days ago. The Hill people are out. A lot of vantage points at this facility. If you've never been to Road America, it was built back in 1955, and this place is really one of the premier road racing facilities in the country and for the world, for that matter. And they're talking about doing a total repave starting in October. Pretty much the same layout they've had the entire time. We will see one kink as they head towards that back straightaway that wasn't there originally, that they've added for the motorcycles. Kind of slows things down. But this track, it is for the people, by the people. They sold shares, kind of like they built, you know, Lambeau Field, kind of the same way with Road America here since day one. It was a miracle it ever got built, but once it's been built, it is an amazing facility.
Yeah, it's an amazing facility and an amazing track as well. All the riders love coming to Road America. It's one of everybody's favorites. Looking forward to coming to this track, and you know they're going to do the pave job. But since then, Road America's did a ton of work here. They've added some new asphalt in some of the corners that really needed it. They've moved a lot of the walls back and made this track so much safer with a lot more runoff. And even the facility, you know, one of my favorite parts is you can ride around the inside of the track and go to any corner you want, or the outside, and go watch these riders up close.
Yeah, added bathrooms. I mean, so many different things. Cabins along the front straightaway, total there. Johnsonville Bridge over there at turns 8 and 9, updated that this year, and hold quite a few other events here. I think like 300 or more each year. NASCAR, IndyCar is going to be here next week. See if Marcus Ericsson can take a victory like he did at Indianapolis Motor Speedway just 1 week ago. Corey Alexander going to start on pole. Hayden Gillum, Jeff May, that round out that front row. Any three of those guys could win, but just behind them, I wouldn't count out Travis Wyman, Stefano Mesa, or Jason Farrell either.
No, and Jason Farrell's a local guy. Got a lot of laps around this track, so he's going to know what it's going to feel like during the race.
Find your favorites working through the pack. One guy we have not seen, and it shows him 5 seconds arrears as far as qualifying, Michael Gilbert. I've been in here in the booth. I haven't been able to talk to Michael, but the stash is not looking like the stash of old.
Yeah, he had a crash yesterday morning, and I think that's why he's setting back this weekend, and definitely haven't seen him like we normally see, but hopefully if he can get a good start, he can latch on and try to make some passes early and get up there with the leaders.
A full field in the Yuasa Stock 1000, I believe 40-plus riders. I think 42 riders signed up for this event. They can't take that many on the grid. Somebody is not going to be able to make it. We'll see if Shake and Bake Steven Shakespeare can work his way up. Now, as far as points or championship points are concerned, Ivan Munoz has to to work his way up. 33 on the grid. They only give you points for the top 15 places.
Yeah, the grid will hold 39. So everybody that came here for Stock 1000 will make the race. And this is where the track's a little bit different. You know, we have this chicane in here where it used to, you know, years ago come out of the carousel where they're at. This long, fast right-hander right here, right past those tires. The wall is way too close on the other side, and it can't be moved.
Yeah, that would be an absolute crazy high-speed run. And you made it a time or two. On a pucker factor on a 1 to 10, did you ever get up to the 10, or did you ever get out of the 10 range?
You know, yeah, that corner was always pretty
on your mind.
Yeah.
On your mind. I'd like to welcome everybody again on site. You see all the vantage points, that little, you know, walkway, the paths, the golf carts and scooters and what have you that take you from spot to spot. You can see every single turn of this track. It'll be tough to get it done in a day, but you can get it done. You can walk around it, drive around it, and it's pretty awesome. SEC run officer here. I had a buddy, Jacob Lubas, win a car race here. Chase Gardner, a friend of mine, running some open wheel stuff there. There's a kart track. We're going to see the mini cut by Motul out there this afternoon. Some of the future stars of MotoAmerica. Predictions going in. Do you feel like one guy's kind of been faster than the rest, even though Corey is the fastest qualifier? Would you put it more with Corey? Would you say that that Hayden Gillum has that fire in his eye? Would you put Jeff May there just from the experience?
Well, the top three definitely have quite a bit of a gap on the other guys as far as lap time. And, you know, I think Corey and Hayden both have been really fast this weekend. So I'd say those two are pretty close. But, you know, Corey hasn't rode this bike before because of the crash in the qualifying. And then we've seen Hayden sometimes have some issues with the clutch. And at this track, you know, with the long straightaways and the gearing so tall, it can be really hard on the clutch getting off the start. So hopefully he doesn't have any issues there. But I expect those two to have a pretty good battle.
And we saw Hayden Gillum at previous rounds in VIR and stuff, looking at wanting to get away from the electronics and just do it manually.
And it's working.
Again, the first turn is a right-hander. Hayden Gillum is going to get pulled in. The 69 drops back. Jeff May on that Honda shows you the way to that first turn first. Vision wheel, discount tires, KWS Honda of Jeff May, and pulling that inside. Corey Alexander, and making that move early on. So 23, the pole sitter. So now, just like they started, those front three are still out in front.
Yeah, you have to be careful here this first lap with everybody being all bunched up, getting in the draft and getting sucked into turn 5.
Jeff May not wanting to get in that tail race, and this is where you're talking about here. Coming downhill, if you line up exactly behind somebody, you see a lot of Mr. Wiggles coming in there. The Kawasaki, that's Jason Farrell, the 86. The guy who's done it many, many times. He knew not to line up straight behind somebody. Anybody. Corey Alexander taking it easy around that turn, using all of that exit.
Yeah, I'm sure this first lap just going to kind of, you know, push it, try to break the pack, but not as hard as he could. Just try to get used to the bike and make sure everything's okay. We're going through this left-hander turn 8. The carousel, this next right, this is where he had to crash this morning.
Jeff May looks to be putting the pressure on the first time into the carousel, an iconic fixture here at Road America. Michael, you got more on Jeff?
Yeah, just a point on Jeff May. Remember, he came back, did a couple of wild cards. One of them was here last year, year before as well. And Jeff May, you may remember when he did come back, as up on the inside goes Hayden Gillum. Lovely little move into turn 10, out of turn 11. May now back into third position. But one thing that Jeff May has worked on that Honda is the life of the tires. So do not be surprised to see Jeff May just settling into a rhythm as he looks to come back around the outside, heading down in towards Canada corner. He's possibly going to outbrake Hayden, not on this occasion, but just putting it out there with regards to tire life and tire longevity. That is something that Jeff May and that Honda team have been working for. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Jeff just settle into a rhythm to have a little bit more life in the tires at the end of this one.
Jeff May finished 7th in championship points last year. Jake Lewis took that title and moved up into the Medallia Superbike class. Jeff May back in 3rd behind both Corey Alexander on that Tyler's Racing BMW. Ride HBMC is on top. Hayden Gillum only 2/10 behind, getting into that jet wash, or however you want to put it, because he is breaking that wind out in front, and that Honda and the Suzuki are both fast just behind, but it's a BMW with the strength, and nobody really pulling him on that straightaway.
No, not at all, but you can see Hayden Gillum, you know, kind of both these two guys in the front are pretty taller riders, bigger guys, so they're definitely going to be harder for them to get tucked in on these straightaways.
See a rider back there in fourth as well, Stefano Mesa, who's had success at this track. 5 different podiums, 7 career starts at MotoAmerica, 2 wins in the Super Sport, but also the 2019 Stock 1000. Mesa's another one to look for.
He's definitely latched onto these top guys and right there in the battle, not letting them get away. But here's part of the track where there's no drafting for a couple corners. And if you can really put these corners together, you can try to make a nice little gap and break that draft.
Also seeing Travis Wyman, the other Titler's entry, the number 10 in 5th. Andy DeBrino, Max Girardo, Ezra Bobier, Michael Gilbert is inside that top 10. We'll see if the stash can work his way up. A couple of different lines there, a little bit tighter by Hayden. There's more than one way to do this. He goes in to out. You see Corey a little more out to in.
You see Corey's a little bit cautious through that carousel after what happened today, having to crash there.
Can't blame him.
Nope. And as the race goes on, I bet he'll get faster through there.
Ooh, having to stand it up just a little bit. We saw a big crash out of Jackson Blackman in that portion of the track. One of our Twins Cup riders earlier this week, they really lay the power down because this is a fast straight. There's a little bit of a turn in there, but they're never letting off.
No, not until they get to right here where they're starting to break for Canada corner.
Now it's a drive back uphill. There's a blind portion here as well. You can't see over this crest.
No, this left-hander's really fast and definitely can't see on the other side, and then you're setting up for the last corner, which is super important, getting a good run out of this corner.
Trying to get straight in line is Hayden Gillum and pushing down that front straightaway. This is also a test as we're on lap number 3 of 8. At times like this, it's a test for Hayden Gillum. If you know that Corey's really pushing up that straight, which he is, can I close in on him? Could I maybe pull out of that draft and make a pass? Seeing what I saw just then, I don't know if he can.
I don't think he can make the draft pass. Just looking at the top speed, you know, Hayden Gillum was only at 151 in the draft. Corey Alexander was top speed was quicker than his in front of him.
But also the BMW, what can it do in the draft? So Corey Alexander, Travis
problems for Hayden.
Oh, no. Oh, no. There's your championship points leader that had been so consistent. A 4th, a 1st, and a 1st. And it looks like he's out. He's pulling off the track altogether. That's unfortunate. Back to the front, Corey Alexander. What I was looking at originally was, you know, Corey Alexander and Travis Wyman on BMWs. Corey by himself did a 152.6. His teammate in traffic turned a 158. That's what he's able to do with that draft in front of him. Let's see if Hayden, he's under power there.
See the smoke.
Little puff of smoke, something let go in that motor. And it was just like one pop, like something let go.
Travis Wyman has kind of got himself in the 3rd. Looks like he's, you know, catching up to these guys a little bit.
Yeah, he dispelled. It looks like Stefano Mesa. We don't see Mesa's just behind him. Now, Travis Wyman may be the fastest guy out there. He's running, let me see, his personal best, overall best in Sector 3. And again, I said he was 6 miles an hour faster than our leader was coming down that front straightaway.
Also, his team had to do a motor swap before this race as well, so that Tyler Cycle had a lot of work to do, and they got both their guys on the podium right now.
And that's a fresh bullet, so you love it when you know you got a new engine in there. You're loving things. So Travis Wyman now, who sits 4th in the championship, was 26 points behind Hayden Gillum. If Hayden scores 0, we've got literally 3 guys within 3 points from each other.
Yeah, and Jeff May's going to take over if it finishes like this, the points.
But May, Girardo, Wyman were 23, 25, and 26 respectively. 3 points would separate now those 3 guys as they're looking at it right now. But there goes Travis Wyman underneath Jeff May. Tyler Cycle Racing is putting on a charge. Their 2 front runners, Corey Alexander and Travis Wyman. I'm starting to get that feel like Laguna Seca. Remember last year, Travis Wyman, a last-minute pass. I don't know if he's going to wait that long because he has definitely been pushing a little bit harder.
And Travis, you know, a couple laps ago did a 2:14.7, and that's a racetrack record. It was a 14.8.
So we thought we would see a record. We are seeing a record, and the pace they're going, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets into a low 14. But at this point, if you're Travis Wyman, you just don't want Corey Alexander to get away. As long as I can just get somewhat close to him, that's all I want to do is grab
he needs
on.
to just try to, through here, just get as close as he can and try to see if he can get in that draft and really, pull him along on that straightaway and pull him away from Jeff.
But I say that, it does look like Corey's pulled away, doesn't it? I think Corey's actually broke
Corey
him
just
a
did
little bit.
The fastest sector 2 of the whole race.
Yeah, just as we talk about Travis being the fastest going on, Corey says, I got to get going.
Corey pulled out 4/10 in that second sector.
That was huge. Yeah, 24.5. Compare that to a 24.9 of Jeff May, the red bike in your picture in third, in just that one sector. Still time, though. 5 laps to go. It's an 8-lap race.
And then this third sector, they kind of pulled it back. So I think that carousel, where Corey crashed this morning, these guys are making up some time.
And that's going to be in your head. I mean, he crashed. He crashed hard at the last round. He also, or does he know? Hayden was behind him. He doesn't know that Hayden's out of this. He could still think that Hayden's right behind him. You don't want to push too hard. I mean, what do we think of other guys? Like,
when he comes up the front straightaway here on the right, he'll see the team's pit board, and they're going to let him know plus 1.1, and you're going to know your gap, and then you're going to see now this lap 1.4. At the pace you're doing, you're still stretching it out.
did you want to see who was behind you as well? Because they'll put that on there at times.
Toward the end,
And why is that? Because I know this guy is either aggressive in my mind, is a teammate, or
because
whatever.
everybody races different.
Whenever you see the plus on your graphic there with Wyman and May, it means they're on the wrong side of closing ground. That means they're losing. They're that much more added onto their lap time than the rider in front, Corey Alexander. In the first sector, Corey pulling out just a little bit. Actually, Jeff May, you can see Jeff May's, I'm not saying he's going to get impatient, but he's still wanting to make that pass. He doesn't like being in third.
No, he's just setting in, but these two can't get in a big battle. That would really slow each other up. That would really let Corey get away.
Looks like Michael Gilbert on our screen has moved up to 8th place. He's behind Ezra Bobier now by about 2/10 behind. So Michael Gilbert's got things sorted and still in this championship hunt. Everybody is. And everyone seems to be letting go of one race, whether it be a mechanical or physical problem, crashing, going off a track. They're losing points one way or another.
Yeah, we've seen Jeff have his problem at the second race at Road Atlanta. Now Hayden has one today. And, the other guys have had some crashes or had to set out. So definitely a couple guys, starting to even out now. Everybody's having some issues.
Max Girardo has probably been the most consistent, 9, 13, and 16 points respectively. Max Girardo currently sits in 6th on the 41. So he's another guy to look for in this championship, the Uruguayan on the PDR Motorsports Kawasaki. Consistency wins championships. He can get in that top 5, top 4. There he is on that yellow bike. He might be one we're talking about at the end of the year. Maybe Andy DeBrino can get back into the mix.
Yeah, Andy's been consistent as well inside the top 10 all year.
Andy DeBrino coming off of 5th place at the last round. There's the 62 taking that outside line. You're seeing two totally different lines. Is that a case of Andy cooking it a little too much?
Well, I think that's a case of Andy really trying to get out wide and set him up to get a good run out of the corner.
Andy DeBrino doing it on the privateer side on the 62. He hails from Oregon. JLC Concrete, KTM, DeBrino Racing, Kawasaki, and the full privateer lifestyle, as well as Max Girardo for that matter. I mean, these guys are bringing the bikes, on their own to the event. They're not having a full Titler's team, having everything around you, a full mechanic crew. I mean, they're having to do it on a limited budget, and they're doing it very well. Both riders right in that 5th and 6th range right now.
Yeah, I mean, they both put a lot of effort in their program to make these MotoAmerica races, and, you're right, they have to do everything themselves. Maybe one mechanic here or there, but for the most part, they do a lot on their own.
Starting to get a little bit loose there on that BMW, and a little separation between 2nd and 3rd now. Is that the case of Travis Wyman closing in on Corey Alexander, or is it Jeff May dropping back just a little bit? Yeah, May's last lap about 4/10 slower than Travis Wyman. Wyman about 3/10 slower than Corey Alexander. So we're just starting to see some separation here, Roger, with 3 laps to go.
Corey's just pulling out a couple tenths a lap. You know, just he's going to see that on his board. But now, looking at the splits this lap, Travis is making up some ground.
And with Hayden Gillum out of the picture, Hayden had a 23-point advantage in the Yuasa Stock 1000. Jeff May had a 2-point advantage. Travis Wyman's 3. I think Travis Wyman's going to be your points leader. Yeah, Travis Wyman's going to be +1. I think it's right around there. Could be wrong. No, because it would still be right around. It'd be dead near even within 3 riders.
It's going to be close.
They're going to be like 1 or 2 points separating the top 3 riders as we move on to the next stop of MotoAmerica Championship, because they only race once in Stock 1000 this weekend, and it's right now. Michael Gilbert's actually worked his way up into 7th.
See, that's all the communication you get with your team. You know, there's no radio communication. You get that pit board, and that's what riders see every lap when they come through. What place, how many laps are left usually, and your plus or minus, you know, to the guy behind you. Some guys will do it to somebody in front of them if they're catching them. You know, just kind of see how quick you are or aren't.
Vision Wheel Honda of Jeff May currently 3rd on the racetrack, 2nd in championship points. He knew when he saw Hayden Gillum out, he knew if he won this race, he would be the points leader.
And that's what he's talked about all years. He's in it for the championship this year, you know, and just being consistent the way he is. Just think if he didn't have that one little mechanical issue that put him down at Atlanta, he would be, you know, way far ahead. But that's racing, and he's just been consistent on the podium all year.
Yeah, and he threw that bike down and away, had a throttle stick on the Vision Wheel Discount Tire KWS Honda. Threw it down an area that he would not know. He was in a position he would not normally be in, and kind of saved the guys that were in front of him too, because he could have cleaned out the field. But he's a smart rider. The talent is there as far as the quality of the rider, but also that bike. That's the Honda we've been waiting for so long with Ashton Yates. Jeff May got it going, and he got it going quicker than everyone. It's taken him a little while to get those electronics, like Michael talked about, but once they got the electronics sorted, it's quite capable.
Yeah, and also he's pretty much the only guy on the Honda for the most part, so it's hard to. He's doing all the data and stuff on his own. It's Ezra Bobier.
And there's the man who's been leading the Superbike Cup points in the Medallia Superbike, and he's throwing his hands up and going, what is happening? He was in 8th place. That would have gave him some strong points in the Stock 1000 Championship. Bobier was 9th in the championship behind Stefano Mesa and Corey Alexander. Corey Alexander leads this one with 2 laps to go, or less than 2 laps to go. The last time around when they came up the front straightaway, a 1.8 second differential. They're running almost equal lap times. Corey might gain an advantage in one spot, and then Travis will pick it up in another, and now that 1.8 has turned into a 2.0. White flag is out. This means the last lap for Corey Alexander, the 23 out of Westchester, New York. Tyler Cycle Ride HVMC Racing BMW 1000 is looking for the victory. He's been searching for all year long since that first win at the first stop. He's had 2 DNFs or DNSs after that.
This battle for 5th is starting to heat up.
And this could be for the championship as well. Every point counts. Oh, Max Girardo. It looks like Andy DeBrino with a good run off of that turn. Let's see what happens here. Look for the 62. He's getting into the draft. Hey, that yellow bike's pretty strong. PDR, pretty darn racy.
Yeah, Andy's strong on the brakes. Makes all that time back up.
I don't know what PDR stands for, but it was pretty dang racy down there. And, you know, on the brakes there, a little bit of a wiggle, got out of position. You see the drive that DeBrino gets once again. And that's what the pressure will do to you. Yeah. He knows, he feels him, he hears him. He can probably smell Andy DeBrino's fumes. DeBrino's going to go to the inside here. Dares that hard under the brakes. Nowhere to go is Max. Can DeBrino shut it down? What a pass. That was well executed.
Yeah, he got in deep too, so that was great that he got it stopped like that, because that's hard. That corner goes downhill. When you brake really deep like he did, it can push you in there.
It's amazing that both of them got us shut down, because once Max was on that outside, he was pushing hard too. He was able to stay on the track because he was wanting to go inside, but there was a rider in there. Corey Alexander started off the season with a win at Atlanta, not able to run at Virginia International Raceway after crashing hard. Looked like he was just trying to play it safe and say, you know what? I don't need to race at Virginia. I'm going to race another day. If we're going to win this championship, I'm going to do it the right way. He misses those races. He's going to come out of here with his second victory of the year, and it is Corey Alexander on the Tytler's BMW Ride HVMC machine with a win, 2.8 seconds ahead of his teammate Travis Wyman, Jeff May in third, and that puts him right back in the championship hunt. Mesa, Dobrino, Gerardo rounding out the top 6.
Great day for the home track for that team. So first and second, can't get much better than that. And one way to reward your mechanics for all the work that you put them through is getting a win. So it's cool to see Corey bounce back like that and not ever set on the bike until the race.
Look at that, his fastest lap 5, a 2:14.98. Great job by Corey Alexander, and it does put him in there. People probably wonder, well, how do you miss 2 races of 3 and you're still in the championship? That's because you won the other 2 races and everybody else around you not being consistent or having mechanical or physical, problems as well. Jeff May had a drop race in Atlanta. We've seen a couple times. Hayden Gillum misses this one. He's going to go from that championship points advantage of 23 to they're all going to be, I bet you there's probably 3 riders within 5 points. What do you bet?
It's going to be close.
Michael Gilbert did finish in 7th spot on his GSXR. Gilbert out of Tustin, California. Cycle World Octane Chuckwalla. Where is that coming from? Somebody doing a burnout?
I'm not sure.
Somebody threw a broad on the grill. Roll Charlie
It's
around.
toasty.
He'll be all right. Take a look at the first race of the day, Yuasa Stock 1000s. Yeah, Hayden Gillum doesn't get a much better jump. I thought he was actually going to get the start, but Jeff May pushed hard those first 2 turns.
Yeah, and Corey Alexander was aggressive early. I think his game plan was try to get out there, break that draft.
We knew we were going to have a 3-rider race. We would eventually have another rider come in the mix, but that puff of smoke coming over that rise, that was the end for the 69. Hayden Gillum, your championship points leader, was out of this race.
And Travis Wyman here didn't get the greatest starts, qualifying a little bit back, came through the race, actually broke the race lap record, making his push to the podium.
They were all chasing Corey Alexander. Alexander would take his 2nd win of the year ahead of Travis Wyman, Jeff May to round out our podium. But Tytler Cycle Racing, Ride HVMC take their first win of the day, and we will also see Corey Alexander in the Medallia Superbike race, as well as Travis Wyman, Jeff May, and crew a little bit later. Here's your final results. Hopefully your favorite finished up near the top. Nolan Lampkin, good run, top 10. Nolan in 9th spot on his BMW. See, Max Gerardo, again, the names that you don't hear every single, well, they're always in the mix, but Andy Dobrino, Max Gerardo, the consistency staying in that top 5 might just get them up there in the top 3 in this championship hunt.
Yeah, the points when they come up now, that consistency is going to pay off as you go out throughout the year.
MotoAmerica Stock 1000 coverage is sponsored by Yuasa Battery. It starts with us. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
So Corey Alexander on his Tytler's BMW, the fastest overall lap here at Road America, the fastest race lap at Road America in the Yuasa Stock 1000s. Dang, I was off. I don't know how I got that far off, but Travis Wyman 6 points and Jeff May 7 points arrears, but it's literally less than 10 points between our top 3 riders. Even the top 5, only 15 points separates those guys. That is nothing.
Top 6 is all with 1 race. I mean, look at Stefano Mesa. He's only 26 back there in 7th.
And he missed the first race of the season as well. So Stefano Mesa is still very much in this race if he wants to continue racing the MotoAmerica stuff. Michael Gilbert, it was good to see him charge back up to 7th, still inside that top 10 of the championship. In The Yuasa Stock 1000 was going to have a new champion this year. That's because Jake Lewis, who won last year's championship, moved up to Medallia Superbikes. The year before that, we saw Cam Peterson take the Stock 1000 championship as well, move up into the Superbike category. It seems to be a theme. Who's going to win this year and kind of put their stamp on it and say, I deserve to be in Medallia Superbikes?
I think it's going to go down all the way to the last race in this class.
I do too. We said at the top. I mean, there's any one of those top 10 guys could win this particular race, and we saw him battling. Corey just had a little something extra for him. I mean, we saw it in practice. He just needed to keep it on two wheels. He was playing a little timid early on.
Yeah, he just gradually got his confidence up, especially through the carousel. He was giving up a little bit there early in the race, but just being consistent, and he broke the draft and was aggressive early and wanted to get out there and set the pace, and he did it.
This would be like for you having a race in your hometown, but doing it for his sponsors, with this being their home race. That's the one you want to do, getting some hugs there from Jason Pridmore. And those guys work together and do a lot, and he does a lot of training with people. And then Travis Wyman as well, giving back to fellow riders. And it's hugs all around. That was a hell of a race. I feel bad for Hayden Gillum. I can't feel too bad because he's still in that championship hunt. But when you're out there pushing it so hard and the bike lets go that particular time, he's hating life right now.
Yeah, I mean, the team is going to be disappointed as well. But, that's the way racing goes. I mean, sometimes things happen, and luckily for him, he's got those wins last race and had a little bit of a points gap and was able to keep it even with that DNF.
Once Travis Wyman moved into second place, as Corey's pulling out his earplug stuff, and they're telling him what was happening behind him. Once Travis Wyman actually moved into second place, I thought it was Travis's race then.
I thought so too, but also Corey just seemed to be a little bit more consistent.
Somebody gave him an extra gear, didn't he? I mean, at that particular point is when he actually started putting the hammer down, and even those timid spots like we saw around the carousel where you said it just doesn't look like he's pushing that hard. He started pushing a little bit harder, and that was the one point he was probably losing a little bit early on. He wasn't losing it later on.
And then also he could see on his pit board he's pulling away a couple tenths a lap, so he really didn't need to push any harder than he was.
Well, the fans got to see a good one here in Yuasa Stock 1000s. Let's send it down to the victory podium and Michael Hill.
Yeah, thanks, guys. A cracking race. New lap record holder, of course, in qualifying. Converted that pole position to the win. And his only mistake so far is dropping his water bottle off the tank in the Parc Fermé. Great job, buddy.
I can't say that was my only mistake. We had a pretty big get off there in Superbike qualifying, actually, which was only just about 2 hours before this race. So my guys literally had to build the bike from the ground up for the most part. I mean, fortunately, we've got a lot of support and some really great sponsors, but my guys, we had our whole team thrashing to just to even get us on the grid, let alone up here on the top of the box. So for sure, it was a little bit tougher of a race than I anticipated. My bike wasn't exactly how I wanted it, but fortunately we were able to get it done, and I just stayed consistent, and I saw that 0.2, and it kind of grew 0.6, and then 1.2 at the end there, and then I don't know what happened to Hayden. Honestly, I thought he would be up there with me, and it's a bummer for him, but for me, championship-wise, that's a huge turnaround after VIR. So, yeah, just extremely happy to be here. Blessed to be here after Virginia's events, and I have to give a special thank you to Michael Kiley. This is our home round for Title Cycle Racing and Moto Union. It's just unreal, just to be out here doing this with the support we have, and all our sponsors. Prestige Services Group, FA Mat and Painting, Senna, Arai Helmets, Alpine Stars Leathers, Alpha Racing, Chuckwalla Raceway, my guys back in California, the whole Ride HUMC family, my uncle, everybody. I know you guys are running out of time. I could thank a lot more people, but anyways, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Thanks, Corey. We'll move across then. Yeah, a nice round of applause down here in Parc Fermé. Let's move across and speak to our second place finisher. And it's a hometown team and a 1-2 first for the team. What a great ride, Travis Wyman, 20 points. And both you and Corey now very much back in contention, even closer than you were before in the championship.
Yeah, that was a great race for us. Hats off to Corey. I pushed really hard to try and close the gap, and I thought at one point I was gonna, and I felt like I could only make up ground really in the brakes, and I had a few big moments on the front, so I just kind of settled for second at that point with a few laps to go. But got to give a huge shout out to the Tyler Cycle Ride HVMC team, Michael Kiley, my whole crew over there. Steve and Alex, Richie Alexander, Scott for filling in, my mom, my girlfriend, Heather for taking care of us in the pits, and all the guys that have thrashed really hard to make this happen. Corey had a moment this morning, and I actually had an engine go in queue, so I think both of our bikes were in pieces minutes before the race. So these guys worked their butts off for us, and for us to come here 1-2. And a huge shout out to Corey for bouncing back after his incident at VIR. So it was awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Travis Wyman in second place, and let's get ready for our third place interview with Jeff May, and he's got little Riley here with him as well. That's a proper family affair on the podium. You good? Dad did good, didn't he? How you doing, Jeff? Good one.
Yeah, it's a family business now, being a team owner. So, yeah, we're happy to put the CBR 1000 RR on the box again. Big shout out to Vision Wheel, Discount Tire, Honda North America, AMSOIL, KWS Motorsports, especially Mike Godin and William Galler for busting their butts. It's just the two of them this weekend. And thanks, guys, for, keep digging and digging and digging and putting us on the podium.
Great job. Well, I think you'll agree, guys. 3 happy boys on the podium. Your race winner, Corey Alexander, Travis Wyman, and Jeff May. Back to you guys upstairs.